What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Godspeed ZRZ. Now, as you guys can tell, we've definitely got some snow, and over the past few days I've had a fair chance to get behind the wheel of the Rubicon 392 and really test its capabilities in the snow, on the street, on some decent trails, and on the interstate. So today I wanted to give you guys a brief overview, an inside look of how it really handles in the snow. This thing is absolutely filthy, but I'll get you guys set up in here, mount you up, and we'll go down the road. So the roads here today are just pure ice. Now, we've probably gotten, I'd say, maybe 10 inches of snow throughout the past 4 days. It all started on Sunday. I was actually coming back from Kingsport, Tennessee, real close to Virginia, and about halfway through my trip back, it just turned into a blizzard out of nowhere. It got so bad I had to pull off to a rest stop and just wait for the blizzard to stop, wait for the snow to actually be on the ground. And then I drove back probably 150 miles with at least 3 to 4 inches of snow on the interstate. Now, for me, obviously that wasn't much of an issue in this thing. It does fare pretty well. So we've got it in Off-Road Plus right now, just so we've got our traction control off, and that way it actually stays in a little bit higher rev range. Aside from that, I've left it in 4-wheel auto. So it's 4-wheel high auto all the time. The best way to explain that is it just automatically engages when the vehicle feels it needs to. Now, that being said, we also have part-time 4-wheel drive here, and part-time is essentially, the way I'm looking at it anyway, is like a 4-wheel high. So the true 4-wheel high, where it's not necessarily locked in, but I guess it technically is. And then we haven't used lockers front or rear any on or off road yet, so haven't had to use any of that, and it's fared pretty well. Now, hopefully you guys can see, but I mean, it's literally just pure ice right now. So even if I was to stomp on my brakes right here, ABS just slides and it barely can hook up. Now we'll get onto this main road right here. It may be cleared off a little bit better, and then we're gonna find some back roads that haven't been touched yet. And just as we're pulling up to some other back roads here, guys, one thing I must say is, if you come from a regular Rubicon into this, or even a regular Wrangler into this, having the 4-wheel drive all the time is good, but it's really not as much fun. So yesterday, or the day before yesterday actually, I showed up to work and the parking lot full of snow. So what do? You do donuts. But in this thing, it does look cooler from the outside, but it just feels like you can't necessarily spin as fast as what you can with the rear-wheel drive, just because it has more traction, more control. But all-wheel drive burnouts or donuts are still a lot of fun. They're just not quite as fun as that rear-wheel drive feel that you get in a sketchy old Wrangler. Alright guys, so it's 15 degrees here. I've left it in 4-wheel auto the whole time so far. The roads seem to be pretty much cleared of snow. It seems like all that's about left is going to be the ice. So we're going to have to head into the backwoods here to get a real taste of what this thing can do. Now, I will say one of the biggest things that I have noticed is the confidence that this vehicle inspires on in really any condition, but especially the snow. It almost just doesn't feel right because it's always in 4-wheel auto at least, and that's still something I'm getting pretty used to. We've got about 3,000 miles on this now, and there just really hasn't been a great opportunity for me to take it out and even beat it up and abuse it yet. I've really just had to work to be able to keep paying the payments. So still quite a few things that I'm waiting to do to this thing, exterior, interior included. But for now, I've just been driving it, trying to get a feel for it and get used to these capabilities, which are actually phenomenal. It's really impressive. But then again, at the same time, that sense of security that it gives you because of the 4-wheel auto, the 6.4, the lockers front and rear, it also makes you approach things a little bit more cautiously just because the actual price of this thing. It's not like you're in a regular $50,000 Rubicon. If you total it, your insurance company will give you all the money for it. With these, the market's so crazy on them. Who's to say that if you were to wreck it, they're going to give you more than sticker like you have to pay to get them, you know? Beautiful view out here. And in Off-Road Plus, you guys can hear it. Even whenever it's not very aggressive, you're just cruising downhill, you always can hear the rumble. I will say Tennessee's not afraid to throw the salt on the roads. They've thrown about as much salt as you possibly could, so it seems like there's at least tracks to follow on most of these roads right now, which is good if you got a normal car, but it takes a lot of the fun away whenever you're in one of these. Alright guys, so this hill is completely ice, and we're going to put it in part-time 4-wheel drive. We've got it in Off-Road Plus, and it's a pretty steep hill here, so we'll see how this thing can manage. Hopefully we won't have to slide off to the side or anything like that, but you can see there, hitting my brakes, it's not very good. But we're going to test it out and see how it goes. At least if we do wreck, we'll get it on camera. It doesn't even slip, guys. Absolutely insane. Pure ice, and we were at a, well, can't see it now. We were at a pretty good pitch and it didn't even slip. On pure ice, that doesn't make any sense. Woo! Yeah, these roads back here are toast. Just pure ice. Stop. Kind of. That's pretty much how I always gauge these roads, especially in Tennessee. I mean, we're not going to get too awful much snow, but whenever we do, it's all on how they can take care of the roads. And every time I pull out before I get going, I'll just slam on the brakes and see how far I slide, and that's my gauge for the day. Got some big old turkey vultures out here. I will say I really do miss just being able to thromp on the throttle just a little, kick the back end sideways, and drift around all these roads in the snow. But like I say, this is a full sheet of ice right here, and we can just stomp on it, and it just, I mean, it hooks up as best it can. It does pretty good, but it's got so much power and just a little bit too much traction to be able to just drift around on these icy roads, because if you turn just a little bit sideways, you know, you're going off into the ditch or a power line. So that kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it. It almost makes you a more cautious driver simply because you can't just throw it in rear wheel drive and have a little bit of traction slipping the whole time having fun, which is good, I guess. part-time four-wheel drive and four-wheel auto, I guess it engages. I'm not really as familiar with the system as I should be, but the way I assume, or what I assume, is that the four-wheel auto engages at any point in time that, you know, there's any loss of traction. So you can't really tell much of a difference, or at least I can't tell much of a difference in terms of performance in four-wheel high auto or four-wheel high part-time. Awesome view, especially for that new house right there. Dang, that's crazy. And that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you want to see next. But until next time, just take it easy.